Welcome back. I'm Ezekiel, and this is DJ.
And you're listening to World Crafting.
Woo! Okay, I got a crazy idea.
Tell me all about it.
So a couple pods ago, we talked about a city that's spanned between stars, like just this massive city, and I kind of want to experiment with that just a little bit more. I want to replace the known universe with an ocean, right?
Okay.
Pretend it's like solid liquid in
Okay.
between our planet and the next planet.
All right.
And then the light, basically when we're in orbit around the sun, that is also in liquid. And there's gases being created by the sun, like it's bubbling, it's steaming the water, and the bubbles are going up. But
Okay.
nobody has found the edge of the water. Similar to
No one's found the surface.
no one's on the surface, no one's on the bottom. Basically, it's like the known universe, but it's water. Like in between, or us and the closest star, it's just solid water or liquid. We could play with that.
Okay.
But what this has allowed us to do is, instead of basically space voyagers, um,
Everything's just submarines.
everything's just submarines, right? And since it's in
Mm.
space and there's no gravity in space, there's no water pressure.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's these little like bubbles of air, and those are planets that have atmospheres like ours.
Mhm. So there wouldn't be. So at the bottom of the ocean, there's all these atmospheres of pressure crushing down on you. But
Yeah.
in this case, there wouldn't be that because there'd be no gravity.
Because there is gravity. Hmm. Yeah. We're going to say there's no gravity.
Okay.
But when you think there actually is gravity, like towards the sun, like as you get closer and closer to the sun. Hmm.
This is a very mind-boggling idea.
It is a very mind-boggling idea. I was thinking about putting like giant whales,
And space whales.
space whales. Yeah,
I
but they're
like
in the
it.
water, so they're not really like,
Right.
oh, it's a space whale. No, it's literally like
Right.
a water
But
whale.
you have to clarify the difference between the whale that's in space, which is water, and the whale that's in the regular ocean,
Yeah.
which is also water, but
It would basically just
yeah.
be like size. And I want to play with, do you know how like a goldfish will grow to the size of its
Are
tank?
they solar powered whales?
Yes. They have solar
Like
panels on them.
uh photosynthesis?
Yeah. They're doing
This
photosynthesis. No, they eat space krill,
Well, what do the space krill eat?
space junk,
Okay.
water junk.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say like how fish grow to the tank that they're in.
Yeah.
Like there's fish out there that could swallow an entire planet.
How is something that big gonna eat?
It moves really slow, so it doesn't use a lot of energy. And plus, you mentioned photosynthesis. So, that's the world. But now we have to put the story in the world.
The story in the world.
So every morning you wake up and you look at the sun, and it's like rippling, like you're looking through a super bright light through water, and it's just rippling. And you see it steaming all the water around it, creating basically air. And the air that's evaporating and it's going upwards. And you think to yourself, I'm going to go to the top of space, see what's up there.
And you try, but there is no top.
And you keep going, you keep going. You travel past other stars. Oh, but wouldn't it be easy to go up? Because wouldn't you just like fill
No.
a balloon and then tie your spacecraft to it and to go up?
I guess you could technically do that.
Yeah. So it's actually pretty easy to go up.
But um the whole reason that works the way it does is because of gravity.
Hmm.
There is no up in space because there's no gravity.
There's no gravity. So there's no water pressure.
Right. But
Hmm.
the bubbles wouldn't be going up as much as they would just be going away from
Away from down.
the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um okay. We can work with this. So
We can work with this. What do we?
basically the planets are just in these giant bubbles floating in the water. Right?
Right.
So what would happen if you poked one of those bubbles with a big enough pin, say an asteroid or
Like
something?
broke the atmospheric seal and let
Yeah,
in the ocean. It would flood the planet.
exactly. Exactly. But then everyone on the planet would have to get off the planet or they would have to drown.
That's not good.
It would basically be a disaster movie.
It would be like a disaster movie.
But instead of the asteroid destroying the Earth is getting flooded because the asteroid poked a hole in the
Oh.
protective shield.
Like coming behind the asteroid is just an unfathomable,
Wave
yeah,
of just water.
crashing into the planet, flooding.
What if what if somebody pulled a Tony Stark and just built a shield of armor around the world so that wouldn't happen? But then also it just was a dark world. Like the
Oh,
sun didn't reach it anymore
that's
because
crazy.
the metal or whatever it is blocking the light. And then eventually everyone would die except the vampires.
There's vampires now. Yeah,
Yeah, there's always vampires, you know?
always, always. Um,
Just the
so there's a
question of
vampiric world,
oh.
and they have
Yeah, I mean they don't have to be vampires. They could just be I don't know. Like yeah, I've got nothing.
all right.
Vampires, werewolves,
I like it.
trolls, goblins.
Like a monster world. We're gonna actually. I want.
Ghosts.
I want to keep this planet for later because I almost want there to be like a prison planet that they've built basically walls behind, and people are like, are the walls to keep them in there or to keep us out?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the sort of prison where they just throw people in and they don't really care what happens to people once they're in there.
Once they're in there, once they're in there. I mean, this
It's
is
just
like
like
its own world on its own. Like you don't need space to be water for this to exist. Like you could
right.
have this on Earth.
Exactly. Well, not on Earth, but in a universe
And
that's
you,
an Earth and universe. Um, so there'd just be like an airlock somewhere on, well, probably multiple places on this world,
mm-hmm. Where they
and they just like bring the prisoners to the airlock, and they just like dump them in, and
it's the prison world Earth. They adapted it many, many millennia ago to hold the
it
prisoners.
we destroyed it because we weren't taking care of it, and we just built the shield around it, and then turned it into a prison. Boom. Done.
Boom.
Boom.
Spoiled all the Martians. And so you have like these, like you said, these airlock, like these ships go to the airlocks. The airlocks open, the ships go inside, and then they drop these like prison or drop pods. And they land on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And where they land is
But
random.
But being there changes you.
Changes.
Not the same person. So, like, people will go to
Vampire.
break people out of the prison, but then they'll get stuck in because they'll go to rescue whoever they're trying to rescue, but it's not the same person.
The same person.
I mean, it's the same person physically, but he changed.
Like,
What's important to him wasn't important to him anymore. What was important isn't important. His focus is staying out of the sunlight because his eyes and his skin are so sensitive that they'll just get burned out if he gets into the sunlight. And he just has an unquenchable desire for water.
and blood.
But mostly water.
But mostly water. Is there no water on Earth as the oceans dried up?
Yeah, probably.
The oceans have dried
I
up.
don't know, though. Maybe it's blood. Maybe the people are just out for blood.
Not for blood. And then when they walk
But
past
they're-
mirrors, there's no reflection.
Yes, exactly. And also, they don't blink.
They don't blink.
Yeah.
Vampires not blink.
Vampires don't blink.
I feel like they would go really good against monsters that only can move when you blink, when they're not being observed.
Like the, whatever, the Stone Angels from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Snakes would too. Snakes don't blink either.
Snakes don't blink. That's good.
Yeah, spiders don't either.
Well, I mean, I feel like spiders blink, but they don't blink all at once. They like blink some of the eyes and the other eyes blink.
Well, not all spiders have 8 eyes.
So get in a staring contest, who would win? A snake or a spider?
The snake would probably just eat the spider.
So the snake would win.
I guess so. I don't know if snakes eat spiders, but it seems like they would. I don't know, though.
I bet they do.
I know they eat frogs and mice and stuff like that. Little dogs, too.
I want to come back to the prison world, but I want to go back to the water universe.
Uh-huh.
It's draining.
Water universe. The whole universe is draining?
The whole universe is draining.
Like Crisis on Infinite Earth style?
Like Crisis, and it's like starting to swirl.
Like
and all
the
the
whole universe is just being
drained. Like the stars.
So let me get this straight. Basically, this is what you're saying. The whole universe is a bathtub.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep going.
But there's no top to the bathtub.
That they've ever found.
That they've ever found. And then somebody just pulls the plug on the bathtub. And now it's all just draining.
It's all just draining.
And no one knows where it's draining to. It's just disappearing.
It is disappearing. I mean, not only that, but stars are getting closer together. Planets are getting closer together.
Whirlpool. But instead of being a whirlpool, wait, no, I said that wrong. It's like a giant black hole, but instead of being a black hole, it's a whirlpool.
Yeah. The biggest one ever.
Is it just sucking in planets and stars and solar systems and galaxies?
In our galaxies next.
How are we gonna stop it?
Well, so this is what we're gonna do. By this point, I'm gonna say it's very futuristic. In this world, it's very futuristic. It's very sci-fi-esque. And so you have like these spaceships that have all been built, and we're gonna call them the arcs. And there's about like 10 million of them. 10 million arcs have been built because the human race has been preparing for the end of all things for a couple thousand years now. Once they first observed the universe starting to swirl and then drain, because stars are getting closer together, planets are getting closer together. Literally, the universe as we know it is collapsing. So they built these arcs. And everybody inside these arcs, they're like these mega structure city spaceships. And they have like as many people as they can on them, except for the people that don't want to leave. And there where we're going to start the story. The last Ark ship leaves the planet as it flies into the forever ocean. That is the space. Or actually, we should call it space. Like, just get rid of water, because it's basically the same thing. Airtight. No, I want water. So, yeah, I wanted to get rid of it. I want to go full, like, super sci-fi. Here. The last, like, Ark ship leaves the world, and you're left with, like, just, like, a ragtag family, and they're just left on Earth. And there's no one left. The reason they stayed? What do you think some reasons that this family stayed on Earth? Why they couldn't get on the Ark ship?
Because they're too poor,
They're poor.
or they had diseases,
One was
or
sick.
they were bad bloodlines,
Mm.
or they were born in this hole and they're going to die in this hole.
So we could go like off the caste system. If they weren't born in a high class family,
Yeah.
they're born in the dregs, so they will die in the dregs.
The money. Or they're criminals.
Yes.
Left to die in the giant whirlpool of death.
I want to do all of the above. I like the criminal thing. Like they're not like bad criminals. They're like the criminals that like have learned to, what's it called? Be rough in a rough world. Who survive in the underworld.
They've adapted, so they're vampires.
Oh, I don't want them to be vampires.
No
So
vampires. Okay.
Yeah. So this family though, one of the kids is really smart, and they have approximately about 10 years what they find out until the world collapses. And basically Earth gets just torn apart, and there is no way that you can live unless like you live in like a chamber underground, which some like ultra rich people have decided to do. Instead of like building their ark to go to space, they built it like in the Earth. Mm-hmm. And so when the Earth, they expect like when the Earth breaks apart, they'll be left like in this chamber that's just floating.
Very interesting.
So like these cities underground. But they didn't get into those either. So the kid finds out.
These are the surface dwellers.
Yeah, these are the surface dwellers. These are the
people who need fins. Not fins, gills.
Gills?
Yeah, so they can breathe underwater.
Let's do it. So is the family fish people? Is the family fish people?
No. That's fine.
All right.
Don't know you're going.
They build a spaceship. Like they build their own ark.
Right.
Okay. And through this course of this 10 years, they basically use
out of the scraps.
All the scraps that the other people that the world has left behind. And so they end up building a spaceship, and it's like the clock is counting down before gravity becomes so unstable that the atmosphere crashes in and lets in all of space and water. And so they barely get on the spaceship, and they get out just in time as the sky caves in. And they get out.
But they're kind of close, don't you think?
Kind of close. They go into the water, they look back at Earth, and they see it just crack and break apart. And like you see these different like pod cities that have been built underneath the Earth's surface. You see one of them kind of crack, but it like is too ingrained in the Earth's core. And so like it cracks apart and the water gets inside and everybody floods and dies on one of them.
Yeah, I didn't think those would survive anyway.
A couple of them did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so now,
are you going to survive?
Now they're in space and everything's crashing in, like going down.
Everything's getting sucked toward the whirlpool.
Everything's getting sucked towards the whirlpool. And so it's like literally them just surviving. Like they have to like land on one of the Ark cities and like steal like fusion cores to power their own spaceship. But while they're on
Yeah.
the Arc City gets hit by like another Arc City because like the whirlpool was like sucking them towards each other, and one
And
of
they
the Arc
both
Cities like
crash and explode and start crumbling.
start crumbling, the water's rushing in and stuff. And as the drain is draining, you see like these mega fish coming down and like they're swallowing and like chewing on these Arc Cities or breaking anything that's in their path. And like stars are colliding and exploding and like ripples go through the water. It's just like them surviving as
Yes.
they're going down this whirlpool. And then they get to the bottom.
What's at the bottom?
You got to tell me.
What?
Do you think I'm going to carry this story all by my lonesome? I set you up for gold. What do they get to
You
the
left me
drain?
stranded.
Yeah.
All right, well, no, these people, they're trying to survive and they have to kill space whales and eat them so that they don't have to eat each other.
Because they don't have to eat it, they didn't bring enough like food
Well,
constructors.
they're surviving, which means you have to eat
They're
for
surviving a cataclysm on a galactic scale.
exactly, which means there's no such thing as enough food.
I mean, I feel like that's the least of their problems. They got canned
What, you
beans.
what?
They got beans.
What's the point of surviving the apocalypse if you have no food after the
No,
apocalypse?
you're trying to survive as Jupiter is trying to crash into you.
Yeah, well, that's easy. You just move.
Just move.
Yeah, they're in a submarine spaceship, right?
Yeah, but it's a whirlpool, so everything's getting sucked in. But everything's getting sucked in tighter and tighter as it gets closer and closer to the end.
They just have to make sure that they have a really good pilot, like Han Solo.
So we'll call him. Never mind. We'll call him
Yes.
Solo Han. No, it's just stupid.
Very creative.
Yeah, I know.
We can call him Jerry.
Jerry, bro. He's
Jerry is a crazy pilot.
crazy pirate. He was totally doing all the drugs when they left. He was just putting them all in a giant like pot and stirring them.
I didn't mean that kind of crazy, but
Not that kind of crazy.
no.
You don't want him to have like brain damage.
Maybe he has to be that crazy in order for them to get him to fly. He's the only one that was crazy enough to agree to flying them.
It's like
Nobody else.
I got kicked out of the military, so they left me behind when they left on their ark. I'll fly your spaceship. Yeah, that's like Jerry.
A criminal, and they don't want to trust him, but they have no choice but to trust him because he's the only one who knows how to fly it, who's willing to fly it.
It's like
So they have to go out of their comfort zone.
the criminals going out of their comfort zone, trusting a
No.
criminal.
No, they're not criminals. They're just poor.
They're just poor.
Yeah.
But
Didn't we establish that?
Yeah, kind of. I was like, they're not. Yeah, I didn't want them to be like. They need to have redeeming qualities. This family.
They have redeeming qualities. They're like they care about each other at least mildly.
Mildly. And they care about Jerry at least as much as him flying the spaceship.
Maybe they have like a little daughter and she cares about Jerry and she wants to fix Jerry.
Like how like Jerry in this
No, like she has a little puppy and she's trying to melt Jerry's heart with the puppy. And Jerry's all like, "Oh, I don't care about your silly little puppy." And she's like, "No, but look at how cute he is."
Jerry's a smoker. You gotta put some gravel.
Yeah, he is him. Yeah, I don't care about your little puppy.
There you go. Like 3 packs a day, 20 years.
It might keel over at any second. You don't know.
Any second.
Starts a coughing fit. Everyone's just like, "Well, here it is. He's going."
He's dying.
And then turns out to be fine. I thought that was it for sure.
Wouldn't water freeze in space?
Yeah.
All right, scrap the whole thing. Um, every space is one giant ice cube.
And so you just have to chisel your way through it, drill your way through it. Spaceships are just giant drills.
No, but I need to know the conclusion of this story. They're about to get to the drain. What happened?
How are you gonna have a drain if it's one big ice cube?
That's what I'm saying. We can't freeze the water until we know where the water's going. We got to come to the conclusion here.
Okay, well,
My sanity is on the line.
okay. So here's what happens. Uh the everything's getting sucked into the whirlpool because it's all getting recycled into one new solar system.
The Big Bang.
Exactly. Except not
It's in this time. There's no water and it's just air.
nothing,
It's just normal space,
which is nothing.
which is nothing. There's not even air. The
Well,
water's being
not even air.
siphoned away. It's getting separated. It's going through this giant water separator, and all the planets and stars and everything that's not water is getting like caught in like the drain, like the mesh drain pan at the top, like the
It all
filter.
just gets sucked into this ingot of just infinitely dense molecules and existence or whatever. And then it just all explodes into a completely new universe.
A new universe where planets orbit the sun and there's not water in between.
And there's not water in between. And somebody said, oof, you know what? That was a bad idea. Let me try it again a different way.
But what happens to our family and Jerry?
They outrun the whirlpool and they exit the water and they're just like
Floating.
floating and they have no idea what's going on because, you know, there's nothing around them anymore. Everything's just black except this one tiny little speck of, I don't know if it'd be extra blackness or if it would be light. Probably be light. Just like this little speck of light on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom,
Horizon of all creation.
everything just
Explode.
explodes.
They get caught up in the wave.
And then they just got crash landed. They crash land
On a planet.
and on a planet and then turn it into Earth or something.
And there were like a little bit of water that got through the filter and it landed on a planet and then it became Earth.
And then it became Earth.
And they were like the first people on Earth because clearly all the people in the Ark cities died or they're still out there.
You know, I don't remember that part in the Bible.
Yeah, it's kind of the only thing that has a creation story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other things, but those are crazy. Yeah, it's like big. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then as they're settling this new planet, they find out that one of the Ark cities made it through.
Oh, man.
Now they have to fight or be in the same position that they were before under the tyranny of these upper class people.
Prim people that don't ever do anything.
Yes, exactly.
All right. I like it. That was good. That was good.
They will be subjugated to these new
All right.
overlords.
That
Unless they fight,
Let's say fight.
but then they might die. Or they could go
What
off into
happens?
the unknown.
Space unknown
Choice to make.
or like New Earth unknown.
Uh, Either. They could look for new places on Earth, but knowing that eventually other people will find them.
What if they go looking around for so long and they come back, they realize the Ark City had like crash landed, and so there was all these like really primitive civilizations, and they came back and they were like, oh man, let's help them build stuff, and they like build like these like triangle buildings.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Triangle buildings,
Yeah.
like
Like,
with four sides.
yeah. Like yeah, these four-sided triangle buildings that all meet in the middle
Yeah,
out of like
I'd be,
massive bricks that come from like 700 miles away.
something like that, maybe.
Yeah, where they build them because
Exactly.
so they
And they use
teach.
their futuristic technology to
Yep.
help these primitive cultures and civilizations uh, build said
Triangle
buildings.
buildings. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. So that was a good conclusion. What about the space being ice? How does that make cold?
Yes, very much so. It'd be very interesting because the closer you go, to a star, obviously, the more water it would be. Um, because the star would melt the ice, obviously.
Oh
But
yeah.
it would be interesting how I wonder if it would be, you know how in Star Wars there are light paths or whatever they're called, hyper routes,
Yeah.
hyperlink routes, hyper
Yeah.
space
Yeah.
routes. It would be like that, where there are these roads sort of that go from star to star, planet to planet, whatever, of um water, where you could just travel through without having to worry about ice. Um and then most of the most of the arc space, like the space between stars and stuff, would be all just super hard ice that would be very difficult to get through. Like the space between solar systems and galaxies and things would be probably impossible to get through.
So
But then people could put up um toll roads, toll booths, and ambush points where they could just ambush people by hiding in the ice, and they could carve out these escape routes, and people could hide stuff in the ice and then it'd be discovered by other people later on. Very interesting idea.
I think it would work better on a small scale. I think we're trying to go too.
I agree. I agree.
I'm trying to go too big. So let's say the world was covered in ice and it was like a mile high.
A mile high of ice.
Yeah. And then you could build your city
Just
inside ice. Yeah, it's just an ice planet. But you could breathe. And it's not so cold that you die really quick. Like you can,
so it's basically just a planet.
yeah, I mean, it's just a
Wait,
planet of ice. But
wait.
you could like build through the ice and it would be like an ice city.
So
Or
just
you,
like 32 degrees, basically.
or yeah, 0 Celsius.
We're Americans.
You're right. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Uh,
32.
yeah.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so that would be that.
Okay. What
That'd be
other
very
activities?
interesting because you could just like have a getaway slide where you just jump on the ice and then just slide away.
You just build your city. You just build your home out of ice. It's like, I don't have stairs. I have a slide
Exactly.
going down.
And then you just have a rope so that you pull yourself up on the rope.
Yeah, you got to pull yourself. You just slide yourself upstairs. It's just like this low gradient ramp. You just pull yourself up with a rope.
And then you get your exercise in and you get where you're trying to go.
Yeah. You got to be like, if you come home and you left your fire on, it's just melted through the floor.
Just melted through the floor. Like melts into your neighbor's apartment because he lives below.
Mom, the stove is in Old Man Gerald's house again.
The stove is three houses down and keeps going. No one can shut it off.
Somebody turn it off.
It just like melts down to the core of the planet and starts cracking the whole planet.
Go because the planet's made of ice.
Yeah. This planet's just one big ice cube.
What do you think we could?
I think there should be fire beings that try to invade the ice planet.
Yeah,
And
from a fire
they're
planet.
like, yeah, and they're like they're attacking and they're conquering, but then halfway through they just realize that it's way too cold, and even if they won the planet, they wouldn't be able to use it at all. So they just leave.
It'd basically be me. I'm like, this place sucks.
They're like, why are these people even living here? This is stupid.
This place is the worst. Literally. It's always cloudy. The sun barely shines. Everything's frozen.
It's basically like when America was trying to take over Canada, and then we were just like, nah, no, you guys can have it.
Guys can have that. It's like, you know what? It's like I tried to eat my bowl of cereal and it froze before I could even eat it.
But then somebody thinks he can make a better future for everyone, and he sneaks onto the fire people's ship, and he takes over the fire's ship, and he starts melting the ice.
He kidnaps the fire people.
Yeah, and starts melting the ice so that they don't have to live in the ice anymore. They can just live regular lives like regular people on a regular planet.
I mean, but they don't know what regular is. You need what's it called? Perspective to know what regular is. So he wants to live in just like not ice world, and he wants to know what that's
He wants
like.
to move to Florida.
And he thinks he's crazy. Everybody thinks he's crazy. He's like, it's like ice is what we sleep on. It's what we eat. It's what we breathe.
So then,
and you think you
splits the world in half. So like, basically, the North Pole is just a volcano, and the South Pole is an iceberg. And as you go south from the North Pole, it just gets colder and colder and colder.
Strip around the equator. That's just like normal greenery.
It's just like perfect, what we would consider normal. And then as it goes down, it just gets colder and colder. And then the South Pole is like 0 degrees Kelvin.
There you go. They're only Kelvin out there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I like
it's
it.
The coldest temperature possible.
Because now I want to put a kingdom in the greenery location.
Mm-hmm. And they constantly have to fight off the ice people from the south and the fire people from the north.
Oh, they're just in the middle. They're just like The ice people come down and they're just like wearing all these like snow covered gear, and then the fire people come down and they're just like not wearing gear.
Exactly.
I feel like the ice people are gonna have the advantage because they live. It's a lot like being cold is way harsher than being warm. Being
Have you ever
wearing,
tried living in a volcano?
I mean, I would assume it's similar to like living in the desert.
A volcano?
Yeah, but I guess there's magma and it's trying to like kill you. So maybe you're like wearing this like protective clothing that protects you from like magma splashes and magma like rain. Magma rain. That sounds horrifying because there's volcanoes going off, right? And it goes up into the sky and then ash falls like droplets of
Are these
molten
people
rock.
still humans?
Yeah.
I
But
thought
they
they
can
were
be
fire people.
they can be fire people humans. They're like
I
elemental,
thought,
right?
yeah, well, see, because, volcanoes are like really hot,
Yeah. And so they wear like protective
like
clothing, but
over
then
a
some of like
thousand
the shamans
degrees.
and stuff are like, we have communed with the volcano, and it says it is very hungry. Find us a sacrifice
They have
worthy.
to go to the ice people and grab some of them and throw them in the volcano.
It's like he does not want any spicy food. He wants something very cold and nourishing. We will go and invade the ice.
Dehydrated.
He is dehydrated. The volcano has spoken. He is dehydrated. Go get us a
And
sacrifice.
the
A
people,
slushy person.
oh my gosh. The
What?
fire people convince the green people to help them attack the snow people because they convince the green people that the snow people are going to attack the green people. And so the green people help the fire people attack
Oh,
the snow
yes.
people to give the volcano the snow people. But then, plot twist, the fire people also take the green people to give to the volcano.
We have come with word that the Ice Nation plans to take siege of this land. All we want for this information and our help is to freely go into the Iceland whenever we want. The green people are like, okay, you guys can do that. And then like this big war
We're
breaks out.
outraged that the
Just
ice people would dare attack them.
but they attack them. So
And
they
they
preemptively attack, right?
Exactly. They're not gonna wait around for their people to die. They're
I mean,
going
they're
to
falling
take
into the plans of the fire people.
exactly because the fire people are shrewd.
Fire people are shrewd, and so they go and attack the ice people with the green people, and they abduct
While
people to
the
feed to the volcano.
while the green people are with the fire people attacking the ice people, the second unit of fire people invade the green
The
people.
green people, why the army's gone? Oh,
Exactly. And then when the army comes back after taking over the ice people,
the cities are
like,
burning.
where is no, everything looks normal, but there's no people. And they're like, where is everyone? And they go in, and it's all fire people. And then they get the drop on the green people. And then they're like, you used us. And then the king is outraged and he gets his eyes plucked out.
Soon there will be only one.
And they leave him alive.
They pluck out his eyes?
They pluck out his eyes and they leave him alive to
You will not be able to see your
torture him.
kingdom. You will only
He
be able to
knows that he
hear.
failed.
Goodness. He trusted.
That he
He
didn't.
trusted the fire people.
And then he finds some small child and trains the child up, and the child goes and kills all the fire people.
An ice child finds the Green King
It's a prophecy.
in the prophecy.
Fulfills the prophecy.
As they're feeding like this ice woman, like shaman lady to the volcano, and goes, "Mark my words, there will be a young child from the Ice Kingdom that will come, and with his help from the Green Kingdom will get our revenge. And they throw him into the fire, and then the fire bubbles, and yeah. And then what you said. And so like the blind king is like training the ice guy. Yeah.
This guy, and he goes and he challenges the Fire King. And he is fighting the Fire King, but he's losing.
Oh no.
So the king has to step in and sacrifice himself to the Fire King so that
then it's not a duel then. You can't like
but he's saving him so he can escape with the other people that are on his side, and then he can come back later and kill the Fire King. Or maybe he comes back later and finds out that the Fire King is actually his father.
Oh, that's crazy. I would not see that coming. That's wild. That's what's the original idea. Original. That was good.
Right? Isn't that so original?
That was so original.
And the Fire King he could be wearing all black, and he could have this sword that's like a fire sword, and it's super hot.
And like it burns with like molten lava. And then like the ice guy, he has like a blue like frozen sword that's like counteracts the fire sword. And when they hit each other, like sparks fly, like molten like freezing rock that's like flies everywhere. And there's like
exactly, and there's just like steam shooting off of the
swords.
Yeah.
It's like you're not my father. He's like,
but I am.
I am your father.
Exactly.
It's like your mother ran away to the Ice Nation. You ever wonder how you were different?
He finds out that he has
fire powers.
He has all of the powers.
He has all the powers.
Because here's the thing: his father was a fire guy. His mother was the ice woman, and then his adopted father was a green person.
He learned the different martial arts to learn the powers.
Exactly. He learned all three of the elements, and so now he is the guy. He's the most powerful. I'm trying to think of a reference to make, but I'm just not.
I mean, like, so, like, he's like the chosen one.
Last airbender.
And like he's like the last ice green.
Or is he the first airbender?
He's the first airbender. He's like an up arrow on his head for some reason. It's just weird.
Instead of a down one.
Has like a tattooed on his forehead. It's just an up arrow, and it starts glowing when he starts using his powers to their fullest potential. And he fights his father, and he pushes him into the volcano.
And he falls into the volcano.
Yeah, but the father reaches out and grabs him, and he pulls him down with him.
Oh.
And as they're falling, he
creates an ice shield for himself. And then when he hits the volcano, the ice melts into steam, and then it shoots him like a geyser up out of the volcano. And then he uses his green powers to fly out of the volcano.
Mm-hmm. And when he lands, he looks back at the volcano, and it's dormant now. He put it to sleep.
And then everyone looks at him and says, "He saved us just like the woman said.
The prophecy has been fulfilled."
Yeah, they start calling him the chosen one, and the one of prophecy, and the prophet, and the savior, and all of those other things.
3 cheers for the Avatar. I mean the airbender, the first airbender.
And then he uses his super speed and runs away really fast, but then he
How
never
did he?
ever uses it or talks about it again.
Is he shy? Is that
Yeah,
why
he
he
just
uses
doesn't.
super speed?
Maybe he had to go see about a girl.
The princess? She lives?
Maybe.
I thought they sacrificed her to the volcano.
Maybe they were supposed to, but then she bonked someone on the head and escaped.
We could go like dark horror, not dark horror, just go like grim dark. And she like gave the crown to like her best friend. And they came in when they captured him. She was like, "She's the princess, it's not me." And then they take their best friend and they throw her into the volcano.
Wow, some best friend she is.
I mean, she had to do what she had to do to survive.
I guess that's true.
Now it's not good. And they're like, "Why didn't that satisfy the volcano? It was clearly
Oh,
craving
because
something of high class. Some like bougie food, but it wasn't
it
good
didn't
enough.
get it.
Didn't get it.
It didn't
May-
get the
Maybe not that." So yeah, like the princess bonked somebody on the head and they didn't know she was the princess.
maybe there
In the
was a
mean,
look-alike who was in the place of the princess to keep her safe,
huh?
and then they take the fake princess and throw her into the volcano, and then the real princess is disguised as one of the princess's handmaidens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then she's just like, so since my princess is dead, is it totally cool if I just leave? And they're like,
Well,
yeah.
she's there as the fake princess is getting sacrificed.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, can I just totally leave? And then she just totally leaves. And then everyone's like, what happened to that one handmaiden? And they're like, I don't know. Maybe we threw her into the volcano. And then everyone was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, we probably threw her into the volcano. And then
Mm.
she
Well,
escaped.
as the protagonist is like training and like to fight his father, he like meets this random girl, which is the princess, but he doesn't know
Exactly.
she's the princess.
And they fall in love instantly because that's the sort of thing that happens.
Literally, it wasn't even love at
Work
first
at
sight.
each
It
other.
was just
And they're just like,
like even before they looked at each other, it was like, "I love you. I hope you're not my sister."
oh boy, that would be weird.
And since the king was blind, he never knew that it was her, and he was so disfigured that she didn't know it was him
Exactly.
until he sacrifices himself to save the protagonist, and then he was like, "I am the king of the Greenland." It was a fourth son of a fourth son. I don't know. Like so he says something like in the princess is like, "It's my father." And it's too late.
And then he just dies promptly.
As like the magma red magma sword like cuts through him. And as like he cuts through him, it like burns his body away. So it's like only ash, and then all of his clothes fall on the ground with like no body left.
Exactly, because he's blind, so he wasn't very good at sword fighting anymore.
He wasn't very, or maybe he was like I mean, either blind guys are like really horrible at fighting, or like they're really good at fighting.
Yeah, but no one ever explains why they're really good at fighting except
Because
Daredevil.
blindness enhances all of their senses, so they can hear really well and feel the
Yeah,
vibrations.
but you
in the
can't.
ground.
That's not.
Mm.
Oh.
Are you trying to make a world that has ice on one side, fire on the other, and this belt of green in the middle makes sense?
Okay, so here's the
This thing. You're that doesn't make any
Here's the
sense.
thing. You have to do what's right in universe. Okay? No one knows how fire powers work. No one knows how ice powers work because they're not real. But you know people do know how it works? Blindness, because it is real. So if you're going to have blindness in your story, you have to have it exist by the laws that it does in the real world, or you have to explain why it doesn't follow those laws.
Okay, we break the rules. if we go, he was blind, but his heart could see.
Joking, right?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay, so they're green power, so he has nature powers, probably, right?
Well, yeah, he has green powers, so he's one with the earth, and he could feel the earth
No, just the
bending and
equator, not
moving.
the Earth. The
The
equator.
the
The
equation.
equator? Because the north part of the Earth is fire and the south part of the Earth is ice.
Yeah.
All right, so then if he has nature powers, then he can just see through the eyes of animals. We can just say that. Boom.
Oh my! He could see through the eyes, so he always has like this crow on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Also, I want to go back just a couple words. Um, the ice part is on the south, and the fire part's on the north.
Yeah.
I've always thought of it opposite.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I literally said there's a volcano at the North Pole.
That's what you said.
That's what I
I,
said.
like I was imagining it correctly. I've always thought of it like cold being north.
I've always thought about cold being south.
You Australian man, you.
No, I just like if you're, I mean, obviously in the northern hemisphere, if you go north, it's colder. But in
The southern hemisphere. If you go
think
south,
about
it's colder.
a thermostat, a thermometer,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
If the thing goes down, that
Yeah.
means it's colder. If it goes up, that means it's warmer.
It's
Boom.
warmer. I can't
Boom.
I
Look at
can't
that.
dispute. I can't dispute it. Oh,
Exactly.
so the world. So he gets to see through the eyes of animals. So he has like this dog that's always with him, and this crow that's on his shoulder.
Exactly.
And he's like, the man's blind, but it's like he has eyes in the back of his head. And then he turns and goes, that's where I put them after I gouge them out of my head. And they're like, oh my goodness.
Gouge them out.
I know, but he's trying to act like super hardcore. He's trying to act cool.
He's trying to act cool.
He's trying to act cool. Give them blind man.
Hang on a second. I think the blind king who lost his entire kingdom because
got his eyes gouged out.
He got his eyes gouged out and lost his entire
daughter died. He 100% thinks she's dead, and his wife clearly dead. Sacrificed to the
Lord. His fault because he was too anxious. He was too excited. He was too eager.
He trusted
to attack the ice people.
And
had he thought about it for a while, he would have been like, "Oh, wait, no, the ice people aren't going to attack us." But he didn't. He just said, "Ooh, a chance to attack the ice people. I like it." And then his whole world crumbled around him.
And his whole world.
I
one
think
voice.
he's going to be focused on things other than looking cool.
I mean, what if it's like 20 years, 30 years later, and he's just like, he's cried his eyes out, and he's done. I know, he's done crying, and so he's just found his lot in life, and so he might as well make do with what he has. So he's having fun with it. He can see through the eyes of animals. Like he's playing
So all
cards.
the animals are crying for him?
No, like he's playing cards, and he's like the blind man keeps winning, and we don't know how he can even see his cards, but he definitely knows what we have because he always folds when we have something good, and he always bets big when he wins. Yeah.
And there's just like a bunch of.
There's just tons of birds just everywhere, just surrounded. He's like, he keeps feeding these birds seeds, and we're just all like, there's even birds on like the other poker people's shoulders, and they're like looking at the card. He's like, we think the birds are cool, but we always lose when the blind guy's playing.
It's like, because he's using the birds.
Yeah,
he's using the birds.
See, they haven't figured that out.
They're too focused on their losing streak.
Yeah, they are not. You haven't figured that one out. He's using the birds, and then like there's this young like ice kid that has survived the what's it called when you kill an entire race?
Oh, yeah, that's called a
It's a word.
holocaust.
No, that's what happened. That's the that's actually a Jewish word meaning sacrifice, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, in
Or like
the
pagan.
American vernacular, it means
No, it's genocide. Uh, the word's called genocide. We're probably gonna get censored for just saying that word. Um, but we're gonna just keep on rolling. So yeah, he's like a survivor of like the ice genocide, and he's like, and the blind guy he catches him trying to steal pickpocket from him, and
it
like as he's
sees him
he,
because the
mm-mm.
dog sees him.
Like as the kid's like reaching into his pocket, the blind guy like reaches down and grabs his hand, and the kid's terrified
Like,
because a blind guy with no eyes, and like the blind guy looks at him with like these deep, socketless like eye holes, just staring into his soul.
I think you mean eyeless sockets.
You say potato, I say tomato, okay? Potato, tomato, all right? Um,
Okay.
and so, and so, the kid's real scared. He's like, "How'd you do that?" And he's like, "I got eyes in the back of my head."
Yeah, that's what he says. And then right after that, he says, I see everything.
It's like,
And then right after that, he says, I'm always watching.
I can see you when you're sleeping. I can see you when you're awake. I know when you're in bed.
And then the ice kid goes,
Or good.
Santa Claus?
Santa? It's like Santa. Santa, I thought you got sacrificed to the volcano.
Maybe Santa is the volcano.
Wait, elaborate.
Because Santa lives at the North Pole, right?
Yeah.
But the volcano is the North Pole.
The North Pole's the Santa
Yeah.
is a devouring volcano that's hungry?
They captured him and ran tests on him and tried to copy his powers, and they accidentally turned him into a volcano.
They turned
As they do.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be careful when you're doing the things that you do to people.
Yeah, those
Because they might experiments.
You might accidentally turn someone into a volcano. You never know.
You never know what's gonna happen. I mean, that sounds crazy. It sounds terrible. That poor guy. He was an old person. He was Santa Claus. He got turned into a volcano.
Normal person.
You're right. He was overweight.
And then at the end, that's why the volcano goes dormant, because when
Nice kid.
oh, no. When the Fire King goes into the volcano, he has the antidote on him.
Oh.
And so
To all the experiments?
yeah, so Santa Claus turns back into Santa Claus.
The volcano turns back into Santa Claus.
Exactly. And then he goes,
And
ho,
so
ho, ho, Merry Christmas.
they're like, it hasn't been Christmas since the fire people invaded the Iceland. I don't know.
Exactly.
Dude,
And then
they saved Christmas.
The movie is a big Christmas party.
They saved Christmas.
Plot twist, it was a Christmas movie
It was
the whole time.
movie. Oh my goodness, that's like the
holiday classic.
That's amazing. That's the best Christmas movie I've ever heard.
Expectations subverted.
Dude, I mean, this started out, I mean, like the start of the movie, you have like these ragtag family surviving the end of the known universe, and then the end of the movie, it's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. as you know, it happens. The tariff goes sometimes.
That's just how it happens. I'd watch that movie.
I mean, who
That
would?
movie would be crazy.
My mom wouldn't.
Your mom wouldn't watch that movie.
No. Anyway,
What part do you think she wouldn't like?
she'd just be like, "This is weird," and then she would just go away.
I mean, you would just tell her it's a Christmas movie. You got to wait till the end. They bring joy to all the children. Gotta wait. Gotta wait after the giant the water universe drains, and then a couple 100,000 million years of advancing happens, or depending on how you want to perceive time. The time is relative. I mean, it could be like 10,000 years if you go off different things.
It'd be like 100 years if you really wanted to speed up the process.
Maybe if you really want to speed up the process, 100 years, and you end with like
we could make that happen.
You got Earth, and then it becomes ice and fire Earth, and then you got the green belt around. I mean, you got the green place around the equator.
First, it becomes ice Earth, and then fire people invade.
Yeah,
and then it becomes ice and fire.
Ice and fire.
Wow, this is just there's a whole production here.
Yeah, and then they like the ice and fire people like there was an ice person that wanted to cool down or heat up the world, but people said he was crazy because they've always lived in an ice world. But he's like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then the fire people, and then he warmed up, and then the volcano after they tortured Santa, and that was later. And then
exactly, it's just
Christmas movie,
wild ride of ocean and this madness and love.
Lots of there's a love story. There was a love story, and then her father, and
I think we might have to turn this into a TV series.
No, I think a movie would be good. I just think it needs to be taken in all at once.
That'd be a very fast-paced movie. You would not have time for character development.
And then it's a
okay.
It's a 4-hour movie. We're gonna do Lord of the Rings 4-hour movie. The first hour, space. It's just crazy stuff. The last 20 minutes, Santa Claus.
Easy
Space
money.
Space stuff. I think it would be good for all ages.
All ages.
Made for everybody.
All audiences welcome.
All audiences would enjoyment. The kids would love all of the torture, of course, of the king getting his eyes gouged out. That we will spend lots of money on animating.
Love that.
And
we're not gonna. Okay.
Oh, live action it? Yeah, dude, CG. We're gonna lots of money CG. Those eyes just right out of his head. And then Santa Claus. They'll love and then the adults, they'll love Santa Claus because that's what adults love.
Adults love Santa Claus.
The kids will love like the mad survival as Jerry pilots the spaceship through the drainage pipe, and and then the adults love Santa Claus. And the kids will love the sacrifices of all of the innocent people and children and family to the hungry
and
volcano.
People just trying to make a better situation for their kids and for their lives and for their wives and for their people.
And then the parents will love Santa Claus. And then the kids will love the idea that if Santa Claus was the volcano and they were sacrificing all the people to the volcano, does that mean Santa Claus ate all those people? And the parents will love Santa Claus.
It's we don't think about that. You don't think about that.
We don't think about that. Let's do sponsors. The fact that we're sponsored is crazy.
Let's do that.
Like, after that one for sure.
Okay, I know my sponsor pretty well.
I know my sponsor. My sponsor is Nathan Wayne, the dang best book writer on this side of the North Coast. I don't know. He just sponsors us.
Yeah.
I read his first book. Super good. Good character development. Starts off getting to know the world. Ends off what the heck? That was crazy. That sums up the book. I mean, it's like a high fantasy. They're like on an island. There's like this giant endless storm that's around the island. This is the Nathan Wynn book. It's called The Kingdom of Sunland, or The Fallen Kingdom of Sunland.
The Divided Kingdom of Sunland.
Wait, somebody cut it in half?
Yes.
Well, the link will be in the description.
Have to
you can get it on
figure that out for yourself.
Yeah. Somebody took a giant butter.
It's in the book. Just read the book. You'll figure it out.
The Kingdom of Sunland. It's not on the sun. That's false advertising. But it is on an island, bunch of islands surrounded by this endless like hurricane storm, which is crazy. Lots of magic. Crazy stuff. High fantasy, kind of.
What's our other sponsor?
The one you're gonna do.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I don't know anything about it.
Oh,
Epic Quests. Go to Epic Quest.
No, Incredible Quest. It's on Epic.
Incredible Quest.
Sorry.
Incredible Quest. It'll be ready by 2026. It's a tabletop RPG with the 20 die
Deep duel
20
magic
tabletop
space adventure fantasy
to the max.
It's crazy.
Coming soon to a game store near you. Also, the internet, because that's just how that works. Because everything's on the internet.
All right. Well, I think we started off slow, but we ended really strong.
Yeah, we made it.
We did our Christmas
movie.
Christmas one.
Christmas episode.
That was our Christmas episode. That's right. Glad everybody that stuck around thus far to get that conclusion to that amazing movie.
All right, wow.
Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next time to hear our New Year's episode.
You won't get how that one ends either, because that one's going to be even crazier.
More expectations subverted.
You don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. All right.
We don't even know what's going to happen.
Oh, we kind of know what's going to happen. Kind of. That
1%. 1%.
Yeah, 1%. Hey, that 1%.
17 at the most. 22 at the most.
That's a good percent. Good.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody. You guys are amazing. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye.